I was 22 years old when it finally clicked for me. Management and leadership are two different things. Now, for me, this was a total breakthrough. The reason is because I know what good management looks like. I wasn't born with it. All of my management know-how has been hard fought. So when I realized that management and leadership were different, I was actually relieved. Now, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of confidence in my leadership ability, which is why I started this leadership community. But as you'll see in this episode, that doesn't help me much with management skills. Now, the reason leadership and management get mixed up all the time is because positions of authority are typically filled with individuals gifted at either management or leadership. So people just assume that bosses or leaders, managers, supervisors, all of that, they're all the same, right? They're not. This is why I'm excited for this episode. This is such an important topic. Understanding the difference between leadership and management skills can unlock so much for you. Many of you think you're a great leader, but you're actually a great manager. And then on the flip side, many of you might think you're a great manager, but you're actually a great leader. In any case, by the end of this episode, you will have a better understanding of the difference between leadership and management skills. And you'll also have a game plan for how to optimize your natural skills, develop new skills, and organize your team in light of these skills. The first step to becoming a better leader and manager is actually to know the difference between the two. Before we jump in, I'd love to give you my free leadership resource list as a way of showing my gratitude for you being here today. I'll link it below. If you're listening to this on podcast, you can just go to my website, zachwhite.com. Many of the resources in this list were instrumental in my understanding of today's topic. It's my gift to you, a small gesture of my gratitude for being part of this community. And yes, I do mean community. My vision for this channel from the beginning was to cultivate a community of like-minded individuals in the trenches of leadership. I'm committed to bringing fresh content each and every week, but I hope this goes beyond just content for you. You know, I'm not some leadership guru. I'm not the most experienced person in leadership. I'm just a fellow soldier in the trenches with you. I may be some years ahead of where you are, or maybe you're further along than I am. It's not really the point. You know, in any case, I hope that this can be a supportive and encouraging community that makes the challenges of leadership a little easier. Leadership can be so difficult. It can be so confusing, even lonely at times. And I want you to know that I'm here for you. Like, I'm genuinely here for you. You can count on me to show up each week. I'm going to do my best to serve you in whatever way I can. All right. Okay. Enough on that. Let's dive into today's content. Let's begin by breaking down some of the key differences between leadership and management skills. Leadership has more to do with personal qualities. This could include your values, character, confidence, or your presence. It's about who you are and how you make others feel. It's about how you influence other people with your actions. Leadership skills really don't have any bearing on how effective you are. Management, on the other hand, has more to do with effectiveness. Management is about your competence to execute and implement. If leadership is about the why, management is about the how. Now, when it comes to focus, leaders are visionaries who set direction. Managers are implementers who focus on tasks and systems. Effective leadership is centered on a vision to guide change, whereas managers set out to achieve organizational goals through implementing processes, and leaders are more intent on thinking ahead and capitalizing on opportunities. When it comes to the actual approach, leaders are about developing people, right? They're inspiring and motivating people. Managers are more coordinators, and they're good at organizing resources. Leaders tend to think more long-term. Managers tend to focus more on the short term, like daily projects and goals. Leaders drive change and innovation. Managers maintain continuity and efficiency. Leaders take risks for growth, and managers mitigate risks for stability. Leaders are typically people-oriented, building culture. Managers are more process-oriented, ensuring execution. In the book on becoming a leader, Warren Bennis shares that while the manager administers, the leader innovates. While the manager maintains, the leader develops. While the manager focuses on systems and structure, the leader focuses on people. Managers pursue goals through coordinated actions and tactical processes or tasks and activities that unfold in stages to achieve a specific outcome. Leaders, on the other hand, are more focused on aligning and influencing people. Another critical difference between management and leadership concerns position and role. A manager is a role with a defined set of responsibilities. There's a title, right? Now, fulfilling this managerial role does not make you a leader. Sure, the best managers are going to be leaders, but they aren't the same. Leadership is different. If you act like a leader, influencing, inspiring, and encouraging others, then you're being a leader. It's not a role that you fill, it's not a title you have, it's not a position that you step into. Leadership is a result of how you act and how that influences others around you. Now, as you can see, leadership and management are very different. I mean, it's two completely different skill sets and approaches that are often in contrast to one another. At times, they're even in opposition to one another. Like you can't do the two at the same time, right? Now, I'm sure, at least I hope that you're already starting to identify which side you naturally fall in. And I do think you're going to fall into one of these two camps in terms of your natural giftings. And hopefully it's clear to you now what the difference is between leadership and management and which one you are most inclined to. Let me know in the comments which one you think you're the most naturally gifted at, because that's what we're going to be focusing on first. And this is what you really need to nail down. And I'm curious how many of you would say you're naturally gifted as a leader or naturally gifted in management, and how that influences how we go about this topic. That'll be interesting. Let me know. Okay, let's take a closer look at what comes naturally to you. Hopefully you put that down in the comments. We'll take a look at that now. If you're just starting out, you need to identify what you're naturally gifted at because you need to fan that flame. Okay, your natural gifts are like muscles. If you don't use them, they'll never grow. They'll atrophy. And what a waste that would be. So start by identifying your gift and use it. I know many of you might be in a leadership or management position. That's great. If you aren't, maybe check out the resource list I mentioned earlier. It might help prepare you for that step. But in the meantime, you can still practice leadership and management in other capacities. You can volunteer through a local church or charity. You can volunteer to coach a kids' sports league. You can run for your school government. You could join your HOA. You don't need a job in leadership or management to get reps in leadership and management. There are plenty of other ways to practice and to identify what your gifting actually is. The important thing is that you do identify which strength you have and get reps. Now, what about your weak area? Okay. As I said before, I'm in the leadership camp. That's what makes sense to me. I'm not naturally gifted at management. I've had to work really, really hard on developing my management skills over the years. And there have been seasons of my leadership journey where a lack of management skills has kept me from breaking through a certain plateau. Now, that might be where you're at too, or maybe you're the opposite. Management is what comes really naturally to you, and you have to work harder on the leadership side of things. That's where we're going to get to next, okay? Here's the question that many people ask. Should I just lean into my strengths, or should I also develop my weak areas? Now, I've seen different opinions on this, honestly. Some people say it's okay to be extreme, hyper focus on your strengths. Don't chase some balanced life because you'll never achieve true balance. And then there's other people that say, no, it doesn't have to be an either or. Develop your weaknesses and you can be well-rounded. You know, I like to think of this in terms of weightlifting. A lot of weightlifters, including myself, set goals to lift a certain weight, particularly in compound movements like bench press or squats or deadlifts. For instance, let's say that you have a goal of hitting 315 pounds on bench. Okay, that's 3 plates. Now you can keep working your chest to hit that goal, and that alone might work for you. Or you might find that developing other muscles that assist with that particular movement is the best strategy. For instance, you might have weak front anterior deltoids, or you might have weak triceps. And if you strengthen those muscles, your overall bench press will get stronger. In fact, there are a lot of muscles working in tandem to perform the bench press movement. In fact, there are a lot of other movements and body parts that you need to strengthen. You can't skip leg day, right? You see, if you zoom out, the truth is you have to account for your weaknesses in some way at some point. You can't ignore them. Now, there may be multiple approaches to deal with your weaknesses, but they need to somehow rise to the goals you have, or they will hold you back. Yes, I believe you should lean into your strengths. And yes, I believe you should develop the weaknesses that are holding you back so that you can break through certain barriers. I obviously needed to learn a certain degree of management skills to be a better leader. I think that's kind of part of the process. There's no doubt about that. But let me propose a third option that too many of us either forget or we don't take full advantage of. What if instead of trying to be great at everything yourself, you surround yourself with individuals who have the strengths you don't have? Yes, I'm talking about a team. This is why teams are powerful. The best teams are organized strategically based on strengths and weaknesses. Teams, when appropriately organized, allow people to operate within their strengths at full capacity without having to worry about their weaknesses, because their weaknesses are being cared for by another team member with complementary strengths. I'll give you a recent example of how wonderful this has been for me personally and my team that I lead. I am not gifted in administration. It's a management skill that I struggle with. All right. However, I was sensing that our team needed to improve our administrative initiatives. Now, as the leader, I can identify that need within our team. However, I obviously don't have the gift to be the solution to that improvement. If I tried to fix that myself, I'd 100% make it worse. So I recently hired someone who does have those skills. Now, I could have just tried to push through and try to develop new skills or ask one of my other team members to do that. But the truth is, weaknesses are usually weak because we hate doing them. If I tried to be the solution to that management need, I would probably have done a crappy job and I would have been miserable the whole time. That's not a solution at all, is it? So sometimes the solution is not necessarily to fix our weaknesses, it's to lean on someone else's strengths. This is why you should build a team if you don't have one, invest in that team, and protect that team. I love my team. I lean on them, I celebrate them, I rely on them, and they rely on me to do what I need to do. And let me tell you something, they manage a lot. These days, people don't come to me for a whole lot. They come to my team. You know why? Because I'm leaning on their strengths. Now, can I throw in the towel on being a good manager or becoming a better manager? This leads me to what I know some of you are thinking already. Isn't it possible to be both a great leader and a great manager? And a lot of people would say, yes. Isn't that the goal? Isn't that what great leaders or great managers are? They're good at both. And this is where I would challenge you on this. First, what's your definition of great? I think you can be good at both. I'm not going to argue with you about that. But I'm not sure you can be great at both, truly great. I believe that people have a natural ability in either leadership or management, and usually they have to compensate for the other. Now, it's possible through discipline and diligence that you can become above average in an area of one of your weaknesses. Now, I would say I'm actually above average at a handful of management skills that I used to be really terrible at. But will all that work result in you truly being great in your weakness? What if you applied all of that energy to your natural born strengths? You see, developing our weaknesses can often feel like you're running uphill with a weighted vest on. It's grueling and you can only get so far. Developing our strengths, on the other hand, can feel effortless. It's more like riding a bike downhill. You get much farther and you actually enjoy the process. So, if you're a natural born leader, should you develop management skills? Yes, absolutely. But you should also consider surrounding yourself with great managers. Now, if you're a natural born manager, should you develop leadership skills? My answer to this is actually maybe. That may not have been what you expected, but as we discussed earlier, not every manager is a leader. Leadership is different. While every leader should develop management skills and lean on people who have natural management ability, not every manager should take on leadership. It's not necessarily that they can't, it's that they may not want to. There's a reality to leadership that management rarely faces. And to understand what I'm talking about, you're going to need to watch this video right here. I break it all down for you. I'll see you over there.